Hello there, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. So, quick thing, no, they do not start the apocalypse, they actually kind of avert it. So first we have Conquest, the child of Lunos. Yes, and of course the first conqueror of the celestial realm, which is the closest thing my setting has to, what we would look at and call heaven. Of course there's the reward realms that come up later, made by the gods, but this is this. Yeah, so Conquest basically just kind of started deciding that they were going to rule all of this unclaimed land, because at that point the Celestial Realm was unclaimed land. The Celestial Realm kind of looks a bit like space in general, but the first few bits are basically on the cloud layer, and after a certain point it just starts going into space. Conquest built up their automatons to build up these structures to make it all possible, and used giant clock towers to effectively, keep everything in sync and such, and thus keep its control, as it is a bit of a control freak. Its main motives for this, and actually, wait, did I mention these people in the other video? I know most people that may have clicked on this may have not have watched the other one. Yeah, so Conquest, is basically just in this with the whole saving the world thing numerous times, because, they want actually land to conquer and people to, conquer too, essentially. That's the reason why they keep on saving everything. Their main goal is to just take over the world, like in old-timey cartoon film. So, up next is, we have, of course, famine/plague, pestilence. Yes, we decided that we would combine them in them a little, because those are very similar domains. Effectively, they're a living tumor from, one of the elder gods. I think it was, what did I name the tree one? I forget the tree one's name of him, okay? But it's effectively a tumor from that thing that has developed sentience and such, is the ancestor to every single disease in the world, and is currently near the center of it in a place known as, and I did name this before I knew anything about Warhammer, the Warp. No, I did not name it after the Warhammer Warp. I had no clue what that was when I made this, okay? It was a long time ago when I came up with the names, okay? Don't come at me for that, yeah? And effectively, it also happens to contain every single virus and parasite within its body, a bit like one of the things that's stored inside of a god prison. That thing that's in the god prison would make pestilence blush. I'm talking, of course, about what's inside Humphrey. Humphrey, yes, which is a thing that's in the god prison. That's a reality eater that I based off of the whale and Amori. Yes, but that is for another day. Yes, specifically one where I'm going to mention the flesh caverns. Also, basically, its main motivation is essentially that it wants to infect every single being so that it can essentially feed off of them, and basically just saves everything so that it has the food to itself, often so that nothing else can take that from it, because it is, rather greedy and such. Yes, it is, due to a specific type of parasite that I can't really mention right now for plot reasons. Definitely related to death, I can tell you that much. Yes, and speaking of that, here we have one that is presently living inside of Wrath. Of course, it is War. Yes, War's main deal is that it is an ember of Ignis, and is, basically its entire internal body is on fire. Also, if you couldn't tell, all the 4 horsemen are centaurs, essentially. But a bit messed up centaurs. Yes, soon you should be seeing a giant red orb. That is what I like to call the flame of war. Effectively, it's the thing it's trying to feed. If that thing dies out, it dies with it. Yes, and that thing's just constantly trailing behind it, and it just stokes the flames of war so that it can continue living. Such is the reason why it does that. Yeah, why it saves everyone. Is because if people stop living and thus stopped fighting, it wouldn't be long until it entirely dies out. It's also attempting to wake up its parent, which is an issue for everyone else, I'm sure, but as far as it's concerned, it's a lovely old thing. It's just doing. Yeah. It is the direct ancestor to a type of creature that I used to name the fire spirits. I'm not sure what to name them now, but effectively it's because this thing's a progenitor of one of my OC species. They're essentially a type of being which essentially has a candle wick-like body with a fire on top that's being fed by it, and that thing is their progenitor. The idea was they would live above the core, but here I think they could just be denizens of Wrath. Maybe the Imps of Wrath or something I could rework them into, because they had this whole thing where they had like the Knights of Flame and such. Yeah. So, of course, last but certainly not with the least ego and dominance, we have. Give the animation in the background just a second. Death. Yes, Death is one of the elder gods, and of course I think you can tell why it's doing this. It wants more people to die. But as a smart little death god, it has formulated that it kind of needs people to survive so that they can die. Yes, like a lot of the divine beings, it's farming humans, even more directly than the other four. Yes, and of course it's the strongest of all of them. Too, with a direct influence in basically every single pantheon, and the nature of hell itself, because of a deal that will eventually be made with it. Yes. And it even changes up mortal economies by hiring some of them. Now, to what these things have done, as I can tell you now, because there's a thing that they'll do later. So, Death, of course, was a part of a group, the elder gods that defended against the reality eaters, and then, of course, when the ice elder gods started antiquity, and after about 1,000 years, they managed to make it. About 1,000 years. I'm not going to be specific with this. I know that is a dangerous thing to do, is be specific with a timeline on a setting. But after 1,000 years or so, they managed to put the recently awoken elder god of ice and winds to sleep, thus leading to the next age, which I should be able to get on with after this video, at which point it's gonna be, mass culling number 1. There's gonna be multiple. I'm pretty, yeah. And that's the thing I'm building up to. Yes, which will be incredibly good for Death, incredibly good for the gods and such. Well, all of them are good for Death and the gods, of course, and the gods because the spirits are going to become the gods, meaning that it's going to be good for the spirits, but they're basically the gods at that point because they've become them. Yes, and thus incredibly bad for Conquest, because Conquest will have a ton of issues there. So, I can't wait to see everyone then. I know you may not want to stick around this whole while and such. But yeah, hope you have a nice day. goodbye, see you next time. Well, any of you who are watching,